What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with NIO stock and talk about some more technical aspects of different stocks out there, from Apple to SPY to the QQQ and many other tickers. And break down some very important levels you want to watch for, especially going into the trading week. I'm also going to break down other catalysts for the markets moving forward because we have a big event approaching us. I want to break down how this could affect NIO and some other important things. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, in just about 12 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's talk about the market, how everything's looking. So when it comes to NIO, we have this potential inverse head and shoulder structure, which I was talking about yesterday. But I want to add something else that's very important to this, because when you look at the weekly chart on NIO, you will notice something quite clear. On the weekly charts, we have a very, very nice looking potential for NIO to bounce. Overall, NIO has been on a downtrend for quite some time. You can see on the weekly, it was just downtrending and downtrending, going lower and lower and lower. And then on the weekly, it tried to base around the 20 EMA, which is acting as its support. In doing so, you could quite clearly see that NIO formed this very, very nice looking potential bullish reversal candle. And with this doji forming on the weekly, there's a good chance that NIO is going to get a bullish week, at least from technicals. Now, on the MACD, we just have to hope it doesn't break below the 20 EMA to get this bearish cross. But for now, it's not doing that. And then when we zoom into the chart a little bit more, on the 4-hour time frame, we got a bullish cross on the PPO, and it does not look like it's done. So I just want to add that with this inverse head and shoulder structure, we were developing this bullish divergence for quite a while. These bullish divergences don't oftentimes mean it just goes up for like, one day and it's done with. It oftentimes signals a trend reversal. So what you want to watch for is NIO making higher highs and higher lows. That's going to be your confirmation. And you want to see it hold above this 11.4 area. If it holds above this, here's where it's going to likely go. This zone right here, this key resistance, you can see we had multiple touches right here. 12.76 could be coming. And if it breaks above that, right, we have this imbalance. It's a little hard to see, but there's this imbalance right here. It's like right about here. We could see NIO push all the way up to this zone right about here. It's like 13.22 area. I mean, we could see the 13s. There's a lot of potential for it to push up. We all have this unfilled gap at 14.8. So we have a lot of potential to bounce. I really believe it has the potential to do so. On the monthly time frame, I want to zoom out a lot on the charts just to show you guys how it's looking. On the monthly time frame, we're about to get a bullish cross on the PPO. We've come very close to doing so. We came close. This was like a few months ago when we started curling a bit, but then we came back down. But we're getting really, really close. So for this month, if we could get a good month, then the later months will be a lot better. Now, for the market as a whole, and I wanted to talk about the monthly on SPY and how this relates to NIO. We have a bullish cross on the PPO on the monthly. We could be just forming a giant cup and handle on SPY or SPY, and it still looks more bullish overall. But because we got 5 green months in a row, which is pretty crazy, since the March period, we've been pumping in the markets. We are due for a healthy pullback, and we could see the market remain kind of sideways. We could even see it break lower for the month of September, as that historically tends to be a weaker month. Now, if that's the case, okay, if that ends up being the case, we could see kind of like a cup and handle like formation on SPY developing, which tells me that even if we're weak for September, maybe for a part of October, I'm expecting, as long as there's no bad news, I think there's good potential for SPY to get a very bullish November. And in November, we could see the market get a very monstrous pump, a very, very nice pump. If we get that pump for November, this could cause some very, very good price action, and this could help SPY start pushing very, very nicely. So with SPY potentially getting a bull run for like November through December, and the market potentially approaching these all-time highs, I'm just saying it's approaching them. I'm not saying it has to break them or anything. This is going to help NIO as well for the later periods of the year, because when you look at NIO, the monthly chart is primed. When you look at the monthly, it is primed to bounce soon. Could this thing, remain at these low levels between 7 to about 11 or 12 for a little bit longer? Sure, right? We should bounce a little bit temporarily for now, but let's just say something else happens and just continues to trade sideways. Sure. But going forward, as we approach the end of this year, November through December. We're not that far from November, guys. Time flies. We're getting much closer. Also, half of November is going to act as another pivot point. Over the longer periods of time, I think NIO is going to get a nice balance. We're going to see this thing start breaking to the 20s towards the end of this year. I think it has the potential to do so as long as it maintains its high deliveries and we see a monstrous rally in the markets. I think the odds favor that. I think NIO is going to crush it when it comes to deliveries towards the end of this year. I think we could see this thing start to uptrend and start breaking these highs, right? We have these imbalances on, the monthly chart, which are due to get filled. Looking at the daily, there's so many unfilled gaps. This is actually pretty insane when you look at the chart. Look at all these unfilled gaps, guys. We have these unfilled gaps in the 12s. We have them around 12 right here. We have unfilled gaps in like the 13s, the 14s. They're going to get filled eventually. NIO is going to make its way up soon, back up to these high levels. But it's not just that. When you zoom out even more, there are even more unfilled gaps up here from the last time I checked it. We have this like gap up here that's unfilled, 20. We also have another gap up here at around 21. There are just so many. You have to just keep going back to look, but you will see more and more of them. We have an unfilled gap at 27. It's eventually going to fill that. There's one up here, technically around like 36. There's another unfilled gap at about, this is very close to about 41. It's eventually going to go up to these levels again, guys. I'm very confident. It may take, another year. It could take a lot of time, but eventually it's going to be filling all of these gaps. Here's another really good one. This one right here, check this out. We have a gap up here around this like $60 level, very close to that, that's unfilled. I'm calling these out because they're likely going to get filled. Now, what if there are gaps down below? Well, not all gaps have to get filled, of course. There are no guarantees. But I'm just trying to tell you, based off the company's long term, based off the fundamental improvements, based off its potential, I believe there's a high probability that NIO is going to be filling a lot of gaps in the future. I believe NIO is going to be bouncing soon, and I think NIO has a lot of potential to start pushing to the upside. At the very least, okay, just for like the more medium term, we could see NIO try to fill some of these gaps, make its way back up to 14, 15. It could trade a little sideways like later on if the market is slow for like September through October. But then for November, as the market pushes, I think this could help NIO start to squeeze. I think the end of the year is going to be very strong based off technical analysis. All right. So we want to keep seeing strong numbers like this. If you look at their deliveries, we got a very, very strong report for August. It's the second highest of all time for them, right behind July. If they keep this up, it's going to be bullish, especially for the end of the year. I want to see them break the records. I'm still very bullish. Excuse me. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. NIO to the moon because the long term is very bright, and peace out.